Hey, what's up, YouTube? We got a rainy December day over here in Indiana, and that usually means one thing around here. We'll work on the side-by-sides. So I'm wrapping up a whip light install for our Honda Talon, something I've been meaning to get around to for a while, and now that I got the time, I figured I'd do it. But I also thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk about the electrical setup and the way we have it wired. Honestly, this is something I see brought up all the time in the Facebook groups. We want the second battery. I see guys arguing about it all the time. You need one, you don't need one. You can always find just as many guys saying you don't need one as you can saying you do. So we have the second battery. I'm gonna talk to you guys about why we did it. If it makes sense to you, then fine, but I wanted to go over it. So let's do that. All right, I'm gonna try to keep this short and sweet. So first and foremost, spoiler alert, you don't need a second battery. I promise you guys, if you guys don't wanna run a second battery, you can make do without it and it's fine. But there are several advantages to going this route, and that's really kind of what I wanted to talk about today. So first and foremost, the main advantage to going this route is if you have a second battery, you are going to leave your original stock OEM battery to do original stock OEM stuff. And what I mean by that is there's lots of sensors on here, the power steering's electronic, it's got stuff that it needs to do. So you're keeping that exactly what the Honda engineers designed it to do, which in my mind is what I wanted it to do. So what that allowed me to do with the second battery was all my extra stuff, my whip lights, my light bar, which isn't on there right now, but will be soon, my winch, rock lights, I said that already, my radio, my rugged radios, all that extra stuff goes off my second battery. So let's talk about the second battery setup. I got a battery tray from CA Tech, which this is a 2019 model year. There really wasn't much available. I think CA Tech was the only one. Nowadays there are more. And I got my little custom 12-volt distribution center over here. So like I said, first model year, there wasn't much on the market. Nowadays, there's a couple companies that prefab these. I know XTC makes one. I think All Things UTV makes one as well. But when I started this, no one did, so I had to kind of build my own. So let's talk a little bit about that and how I was able to accomplish that. On the Talons, Honda was kind enough to send us up 2 heavy gauge wires from that back OEM battery. Now what they intended us to use that for was for a winch. So they had a little winch contactor mounting location up here that's underneath that. You can't see it. That's what I actually mounted that board to. And then they also had a 12-volt keyed on only source. So you only had 12 volts with that extra set of wires when your key was on. An important thing to note with that is there's only like a 10 amp fuse in that, so you don't want to use it to power accessories, but you can use it for control voltage, which we'll kind of get into in a minute. So back to the wiring, what I did was repurpose those winch wires that Honda wanted us to use, and I used that to feed my second battery setup. So the advantage of doing it that way is when the machine's running, it's charging that battery. I did also add a battery isolator kit that's tucked off in the back. So what the isolator kit does is constantly monitor the voltage. And if this battery gets below, I want to say it's like 11.5, or it could even be 12 volts, it cuts it off from that back battery. It opens up that parallel circuit so it's no longer connected and it's not going to let you kill your back battery. That's awesome. I tell you what, like honestly, I use that all the time. There's a lot of times we're sitting by the campfire, we're sitting by the pool, whatever. I want to use the radio and the Talon, so I just open up the doors and let it play till it dies. And then when it dies, I just start it back up and pull it into the barn. So definitely go with an isolator kit if you're getting a second battery, just to keep yourself from discharging your main battery. So wiring, we brought that up here, fed the isolator kit to the second battery, explain what the isolator kit does. Now let's talk about branch circuits and how I wired it. So right here's the brains. This is a 12-volt fused distribution center. So that is wired directly to that second battery, which basically means that that's hot all the time. So if I were to pop that off right now and measure it with a meter, I'm going to have 12 volts DC sitting at each one of those terminals. I don't like wiring my stuff that way. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't know. So what I did was use that keyed on only circuit for my control voltage. So the keyed on only circuit I brought down to this bus bar at the bottom. So this bus bar only gets hot when the machine's running. It leaves here and it goes to each one of my individual switches, which I can show you inside. I got my Sasquatch lights, my rock lights, I got my whip light switch that I just put in there, and rugged radios down there. There's all the switches, right? Oh, and then the winch controller right there. So the 12 volt from the keyed on only source goes to the switch, and then when you turn that switch on, it actually comes back and it picks up one of these relays. So the switch is just talking to the relay. The relay is what controls all the power. So the relay is tied into the 12-volt fuse distribution center. When the relay closes, now that accessory comes on. I hope that makes sense. I hope that kind of makes sense when I'm trying to explain the control voltage, because it's really important to understand that all that that's doing is sending a signal. It's just telling the relay to open or close. That's all it's doing. No real current is being drawn through there, and that's a good thing because you don't have a big fuse on that. It's not heavy wire. You're not supposed to use it that way. So it's great for control voltage, but it's not great for power and stuff. So comes back, hits the relay does the main switching. The switch is just telling the relay what to do. That is by far the superior way to do it. It's not necessary. I know lots of guys that don't use them, but especially on the high current draw stuff like the light bar. I think my light bar is like a 150 watt light bar. Again, not there yet, but it will be. You definitely want to go a relay. If you're using low stuff, you don't need one, but especially considering the limitations of that keyed on only circuit, it's just best to use one. So that's it. I hope that made sense. I hope this video helps you guys. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know down in the comments section. To me, you're never going to change my mind on this. Second battery is definitely the way to go. Definitely the way to go. Can't argue with it. Like I said, don't get intimidating. This stuff's not hard. 12 volts, super easy. It's just 2 wires. You guys have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to help. Definitely stay tuned. We got some cool stuff coming up. Just put the whip lights on here. We got these from a company sent them to us for a review, which we'll be doing a review video coming soon. But definitely happy with them. Now these do have the ability to be used as reverse lights, turn signals, and brake lights. I haven't messed with any of that. I got just the whip lights, but it is good to know. And I might mess with it before, in the future. We did do that with the Can-Am whip lights, and it is pretty cool when we go down to Tennessee and West Virginia to actually be able to use turn signals instead of the arm signals when we're out on the road. Anyway, stuff we have coming up. RPM blow-off valve. They sent us this like 6 months ago. I definitely need to make some time to install this. That's for the Can-Am. I got an oil change kit for the Can-Am. And the best thing about that is I'm not going to make a fool of myself like the last video. Well, I probably will, but in different ways. Curtis valves, baby. If you guys have a Can-Am or any machine for that matter, they make these things for everything. Look into this company. They are awesome. I'm going to put these on all of my machines, and it's going to drastically improve the way that I do oil changes. If you guys didn't get a chance to watch the oil change video on the Can-Am, definitely go over there and check that out because I made a mess. I didn't do it right. Screwed a lot of stuff up. Hoping that's going to fix it. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Till next time.